lads, take in, and I want the first person to spot a deer, please shout out to tell us. We should see deer. It's become a park. You'll see there's loads of pictures here, and all the kids will be out. We're a bit early, and then of course the bicycles now have taken over. They've ruined, like Tony will tell you, they've ruined the traffic for drivers in Dublin. Everywhere you go, there's these bicycle lanes. They've got some people have some idea that we're all going to be bicycling around the place. They forgot about the weather, lads. That's the only thing. The weather here, it rains. So we're going to. We should be coming up soon on the Oris Neutron on the right hand side. So these, and now Cynthia, you're looking at the trees. There's beech trees, there's oak trees, and there's ash trees there. And you should be able to tell us out when you see an oak, an ash, or a beech. Tell us. I think that's a beech tree there. That one there. That is good. So Cynthia, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Now on the left hand side, like everywhere, there we are. That is the Garda Síochána. See the jeep there, and they have Garda horses. So these guys, no guns, just horses. So it's there. And by the way, if you meet a guard, say hello, talk to them, ask them. People, please talk to people here. We like people to talk to us. Yeah. And we love Americans. We're not too. Your president is not too popular at the moment, but everyone loves Americans. Okay, remember that. Everyone loves Americans. So, even now, no, it's very hard. Well, you see, there's hundreds and hundreds of years. Very hard for you to destroy hundreds and hundreds of years of friendship. And we're going to go up here, and we're going to go up to the Papal Cross. The last. John Paul, everybody know about the famous Pope John Paul I or II or wherever he was, and he came here and he said a mass, and 1 million people, this was before all the church scandals broke, 1 million people assembled here for a mass. So it's unbelievable. And there's a Papal Cross there, and there's two. We're going to see the two major residents here. One is for the American ambassador, and the other is the Irish president. The Irish president is a guy called Micheline O'Higgins. Michael Higgins. Micheline is, when you say Bucheline, it's Micheline. He's a small man, so you say, if your name is Shawneen, he'd be Small Sean. So he is our little. He's like a little leprechaun. Over there, that is a polo grounds. You see there? Now polo is a sport played by rich people. You have to have 6 horses. Each polo person on the horse have 6 horses. Horses, those kind of polo horses, and it costs between 200,000-300,000. So you have to have 6 of them for a rider. Let's say in Dublin on the right hand side, and this is a beautiful park. And people, it was just originally it was a hunting park for the nobility, and you could hunt here only the nobles, and then gradually the peasants have taken up. So beautiful trees, and this is a spring day. Everything is green. Now, the reason everything is green, lads, is because it rains here. So the chances are the weather forecast is good, but there's rain on the way. There's always rain on the way, so don't be surprised. So enjoy this. Now look out there and just enjoy it. Of course, everybody now is running and racing around the bloody place and bicycling, and this is where. So we become. Ireland is like that. See with the American flag, that is the American's ambassador's residence. Okay. It used to be the viceroy. We missed the Irish president. It used to be the viceroy of the English viceroy, the governor of Ireland from England was called the viceroy, and that was his residence, and the junior viceroy was the other side. So the Americans, because America was so good to us, and one of our first prime ministers, Eamon de Valera, he had an American citizenship, and he actually, I'll tell you, when you talk about history repeating itself, he actually was very much in favour of tariffs, and he bankrupted the country with his tariffs. So I'll tell you, but now, this is the papal cross. So I think we'll have 5 minutes just run up and down. This used to have actually there's horse race. Oh, I've a whole there's either all the great horses are from that family, and it was originally a Canadian horse called Northern Dancer. And a guy from where Tony and I live, Mullins, a fella called Willie Mullins. Now on the left hand side coming up, we're going to see the home of Micheline O'Higgling, which is our president. Now a president here has no powers. No power. He can just makes wild statements and everyone, and he's this guy is a poet, right? And he's a lovely man. I had to sit down and listen to his poetry once. Oh God, excuse me. His poetry is dreadful. There he is. Now his poetry is absolute, and that's his house. So talk, which is Irish for house. Talk on Uachtaráin. Uachtaráin is the Irish for president. Shine talk on Uachtaráin, and that was both those houses. This house and the American embassy was built. Coming up here on the right, a guy called Wellington. I'm disappointed we haven't seen. That's a cricket ground there. People play cricket. That's the cricket pavilion. That's a real gentleman's sport as well. The obelisk is to a fella called Wellington. You probably have heard of him. Some students of history will have heard of him because he was the guy who defeated Napoleon at the Battle of where? Waterloo. That's right. Waterloo is not just a song. It's actually a battlefield. And he was actually born in Ireland. Now he was born from what we call an he was from an English family, and his famous quote was not quite nice as that. Just because you were born, someone called him Irish, and he said, no, just because you were born in a stable doesn't mean you're a horse. He actually, when he finished as a general, one of England's most famous generals, he went on to Parliament, and he was Prime Minister in England for about 10 to 20 years, and he also was himself. We had two great Irishmen at the time. Another guy called Daniel O'Connell, and Daniel O'Connell was the first Catholic to be allowed to enter the English Parliament. So that is the obelisk to Wellington. Now, Rich? Yeah, but see between the three, there's a thing called the Statue of the Invisible Man. This is a new one on me. Tony knows more about this than I do. And Cork, all the trains for the south. We're going to take a turn. We're going over the River Liffey. This is the River Liffey you see here. It's how Dublin gets its name. It's the Vikings. Dublin was named. The Vikings arrived here in 8 something or other, and they stayed here. They stayed here for 200 years. And they came and they settled in a place called the Black Pool, and that's where Dublin. That's where the Irish for Dublin is Dublin, and so when the world at the time, the British Empire, and they had very little backing till they lost. And anyway, in the end, the British executed them, all of them, and they took over. We're down O'Connell Street here, and on the we're going to come up to the GPO, the General Post. This is where there was the command post was here in the GPO, and that's Jim Larkin over there. He was one of the leaders as well, and like that's like taking over. TikTok. It was the nerve center, the communication center. So that's what. So people are like, why the GPO? It's because it was the communication center of Ireland. So so they could get the messages out about the revolution to the world, and they did. And there was the proclamation was read here by a guy called Pádraig Pearse, and he was a revolutionary. And they were all, the British decided to execute a lot of them, and then they became very popular after they were executed. I have enough. You're too important. So right, we're coming. So this is the main thoroughfare. This was all flattened and rebuilt. And you see where that thing at the back of a place called Crow Park. I get missed call from there. I'm going to tell. I'm going to be there in 10 minutes. The Expat Explore Group. 10 minutes. Okay. Talk to you then. Cheers. Okay. Bye bye. Yeah. Tony is just going to pick up the bus and sort of fly around. For lunch. Now, I've given you a brief little taste of Dublin. You know, there have been volumes of books written about. So so all I can do, and I hope I've done it, is to give you a little taste. You look at the architecture here. You just see. You've seen that. Actually, you've had a nice little taste of Dublin. Now we're in the north side now here, and this will be then less affluent. Everywhere is affluent now. Even these small little houses, they're 200,000 or 300,000 euros. It's amazing. The cost of any of it's a third world problem. The cost of housing here is unbelievable. Like I have to. My daughter, as I said, got married 3 weeks ago in Galway. There was 12 at the wedding, and now she's having the afters in Lisbon on Saturday, and there's 30 or 40 coming. So that's the way they have a church wedding. The church and the afters is a humanist thing, and a reception. Yeah. Well, look, this is what my young daughter, lovely girl Fiona, is her name, and her husband is Angus. Actually, Angus dad comes from Carlow, where Tony's from. So this is all. It's a very safe. His name is Fiona. It's a very small. This is a small country, absolutely beautiful small country. That's a beautiful building there on our left-hand side. It's in my notes. We'll get them out. This yesterday. You see those poor builders, they found some archaeological stuff there. You see where they see so that's probably going to hold it up for about a year. So that's what happens. So when you build any of the European cities, it's not just now. When you start building, you want to build, put up a big block of flats or a big block, you've got to go down. So just in a minute or two we'll be putting up, and Tony will be putting up outside where we're having lunch, and 8 of us will get in, and we'll be here for an hour, and then after that we're going up to the Epic Museum, and then we're going up to Guinness's. Like, I've one lady telling me her people, people can trace people back to Mayo. So we say in this country, we were one of our prime ministers. Every year we go over to St. Paddy's Day and they present a bowl of shamrock to the President of the United States. And one of our last teacher before last, who was actually from Mayo as well, his name is Enda Kenny, and his famous quote was, "Ireland is a small nation with about 5 million people, and we have 44 million first cousins in America." and that's probably about right, you know. Like, and on St. Patrick's Day, I'd say that doubles to about 100 million. so that's it. So now we're crossing. Just stopped in time. That's just stopped in time. Yes. And we're coming down now. We're coming down into the financial centre of Ireland, where you have all the Googles and a lot of American companies have their European head offices here, and it's purely for tax reasons. It's and you know we're delighted. We're absolutely delighted. We have a fantastic tax. Our tax, and they only. This ship sailed. Now it's parked up there at the moment. The last time it sailed, a group of my buddies, we raised 125,000 euros. Set up a school in Kenya, and we raised it by sailing and then doing the Camino. Myself, I was one of the guys on the plane. We flew over. We got the bus up to La Coruña and walked back. I'm afraid I wasn't brave enough to go on it. But it was a great experience. You hired the boat and the captain and a first mate, and then you manned it with the rest of you. And there was quite a few of the lads were sailors, and we had great. It was a great crack. We're just here now. success there is about 500,000 people who want it. That's the way. That's life. That's life. Yeah. Any golfers? Anybody?
Yeah, how's
here?
Rory doing?
Rory, yes, Rory.
Yeah, who was ahead?
He's. I don't know. I haven't looked at it yet. But he had a disaster the first day, and then he had.
He was running at number one.
Yeah.
I don't know how far they were.
He's a great. He doesn't have the finish, unfortunately. He's lovely. But the other guy is lovely. The other guy from Offaly, Shane Lowry. Shane is, and he comes from a family of.
Oh, okay.
So I think he's bought out. I think they now bought out the ground rights. So I think they were glad to sell. Whatever it was. It's all very close because they only had horse and cars. They didn't have cars then. So all the buildings are fairly close. So like we stick along the river. You'll cover nearly everything. Back to this. Now you have a lovely. And on the way up here, you're going to pass a few distilleries. We do have a lot of very good distilleries. But Ireland is famous for its whiskies and stuff. And we'll talk about that more tomorrow because there's a big thing between the Irish and the Scottish, which is whiskey. We claim that their stuff isn't whiskey, and they claim they brought the whiskey to us, and we brought the whiskey to them. So I go into all that tomorrow. That is an interesting story. But the bottom thing is whiskey is people like it, and rules and regulations. All our rivers, they're clean, but not much for transfer because if somebody hits you, something breaks, and it's not. It's not the other thing. It's all these. That's the four courts. That building there across the way is the four courts. All the stuff here is from Dublin. The Dublin does all of Europe and America as well.
Sure it was me dad.
Would be overrun with teeming vermin.
7 years on that demon's land is the sentence. She may take.
Don't try to take it from an and egg. And I would not underrate the difficulties of their cause once they arrive in the United States. The Atlantic is a bowl of bitter tears. So I
Well, look, that's the first bit. See this. We're going there first. Lucky, I thought they were going to go. Now, follow me, and we're going to go through how it's going to go through how you make beers. You know, you want barley, hops, yeast, and all. They're the main things. And we have that in abundance in this country. We have beautiful water. We can grow grass. Barley and hops, they're from grass. So just mix them all up and produce whiskey. Just showing you it's very realistic. Super. 95% water. 95% Waco water. Okay. it different, gives it the black colour that people taste.
We've been working with Irish barley fermenters and maltsters for generations. We roast at exactly 232 degrees. Any higher, the
Everything's okay, yeah? Okay. Guinness, a fantastic advertisement. So you'll see all the old advertisements.
The atmosphere that existed when the Cooper was still on the concrete called in the Guinness wheel, and clearly shows the skill of the knowledge.
Welcome to the tasting rooms here at the Guinness Storehouse. I have a very, very important question before we get started. How is everyone doing today? Wow, I'm not sure if I believe you. I will remind you guys, you're about to have one of the freshest samples of Guinness you could ever have in your life, pulled by some of the best bartenders in the world. I'll ask you again, how are we all doing today? That was a little bit better. So guys, you're currently stood in the first of our two tasting rooms that we have here. We call this first room the white room for some obvious reasons. It's a room, it's white, but it's actually designed this way to fully enhance and awaken your senses. So my name is Ella, I'm going to be your guide for this first room. So I also mentioned we have our 4 different aroma pods in here. Each of these represents a different component of Guinness's flavour. Just like over here to my left, we have the malted barley. Malted barley is the source of all the sugar found in Guinness, gives it that subtle sweet taste, and it smells a bit like biscuits or breakfast cereal. Then behind it just there we have my personal favourite, we have the beer. Don't look too disappointed guys, this is not the pint you were promised we were taking, we can all relax. So, this is just for your tasting next door, and everyone's going to get one, provided you're over the age of 18, which is the legal drinking age here in Ireland, and we also challenge 25 here, which just means if me or my colleagues feel like you look under 25, we might ask for your ID. So if you think that applies to you, maybe have it ready to go. Now, the next thing I'm going to say is the most important thing. You're all going to get one of these samples for your guided tasting. That's taking place next door. So, does a guided tasting work if you have nothing in your glass left to drink? No, it does not. So you're going to try your very best to not drink your sample in this room. You're going to take it with you down those corridors, either side of the bar, through those automatic doors.
This is our second tasting room. We call this room the Velvet Chamber. It's designed to look similar to how Arthur Guinness's own study would have looked. This is because if you have a look at your sample, you'll see that white foam on top. So that's all the nitrogen in Guinness, and if you sip it, it's going to
So, I go through the whole safety with you first of all. Please, no standing on the bus, no running. You know, you sit down, keep seated till we're stopped. The other thing is the windows, the special windows, so you can see everything really better. If you believe that, you'll believe anything. But it's all about safety. No food on the bus. I presume, Tony, you don't mind if someone has a. Do you mind if? Yeah, once it's not hot, and stinking, and makes a smell. Just be conscious of the people around you, right? And if it, that's just keep the place as tidy as possible. Tony has the bus looking fantastic, so just keep everyone, just a bit of respect for everybody. That's all. That's what it comes down to, and we're a happy group. Now, this is the smallest group I've ever been on. Normally we're between, I think I said this, and I'm going to for the first day I'll be repeating myself a fair bit. Normally between 40 to 45 people. We now have 14 on this. 2 people I know have already messaged me they won't be there, and there's 2 people haven't turned up. They'll probably turn up later on, and I've left a package for them at the hotel, so they'll probably ring me and they might join us. Hopefully they'll join us for the meal at 6 o'clock. So and so tomorrow we should have 14 people hopefully for the trip, and that's a nice small group, so we'll all get to know each other, right? Everyone gets to know, and we're all the great thing about this job for me, I'm with people who are on their holidays, and everybody wants to be happy. That's all. That's the whole reason why you're here. So we will do our best to be happy. So just, if anything you don't like, just ignore it. Just ignore it. Move on. There's no hassle. Now, so what's going to happen? What's happening now? This is more or less the introduction, and I'll tell you tomorrow. Or I'm going to give you all a map of Ireland, and I'm going to tell you the route we're going to take, and really what we're going to do each day. I will have a day sheet, which I will WhatsApp. I hope everyone's on WhatsApp. We have a volunteer. Denise is as a technical advisor. I'm amazing the amount of people who volunteer for me. I always say, you have just volunteered. And that's the way it works. So we're going to get everybody on WhatsApp, and I'll be taking I want you to share photographs on WhatsApp, so head office will know what I'm doing. They actually think that we're actually working. So when we take a group photograph, I send it back to head office, so they know that Irish guy, he's actually doing the job. So that's it. So right now, we're starting today. We're going to go. We're on the outskirts, the very outskirts of Dublin, and we're taking the N4. That's what this is. M50. Sorry, M50. There. M50 into town, and we're going smack into the middle of Dublin. What we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to visit a place called Phoenix Park, which is one of the biggest in Europe. It's the biggest park a city park in Europe, and it's got some wild deer, and hopefully we'll see that. And I'll be telling you all about it in a few minutes. And from then we're going to go from Phoenix Park into Merrion Square, and we're going to visit the statue of Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde is one of our famous writers. We're great for telling stories, absolutely, and writing novels, fictitious novels. And so we're going to visit Oscar Wilde, a very famous raconteur and writer in the 18th century, and he was kind of a socialite. Before you had what you have now on Twitter, you have people who are influencers. He was kind of an influencer. History, one thing you learn on this, history repeats itself. So like George Bernard Shaw, Oscar Wilde, they were all influencers. They were great writers of pamphlets, and he was one of the really famous influencers. Most of the great Irish writers, they either came to Dublin from the country and then emigrated to London or to Paris, or to, like Joyce did all his writing in Italy, and when they went away, they found the inspiration to write about home, right? So he was the very first big influencer. That's why I say everything is repeating. If he was alive today, he'd be on TikTok. A little bit about Dublin. Okay, Dublin it's now your typical European city. It's a population of about 1.4 million. It's the capital of Ireland. It's like your Washington, and it's also the financial capital. So it's New York and Washington put it together. It's a very cosmopolitan town. We have first world problem in Ireland. We have a housing shortage. Otherwise, this is a very safe city. We have our police force is called An Garda Síochána. Now, An Garda Síochána, they are the protectors of the peace. They're not the enforcers. They're protectors. They're there to protect you, and to. Most of our guards don't carry guns. There's no guns. You see someone with a gun, you run, because it's not legal to carry a gun here in Ireland. The only people who legally can carry a gun are some of the police, because every modern city in Europe has a drug problem now, and because of that. But most of what we call the guards on Gardaí is the area, but the guards most of them do not carry firearms. That's it. So, and that would come from our history, because when we only have independence here since 1922, and before that the RIC, which is the Royal Ulster, the Royal Irish Constabulary, they were enforcers for the British government. So when we got our independence, they decided, no, for the police to be accepted, they were not going to carry arms. They were going to be not enforcers, but facilitators of the law. So that's and it's about. So you'll find this, like any city, just mind your possessions. There's always pickpockets everywhere. There's always that kind of. Just be careful. But this is a safe, and particularly when you go down the country, like where I live, I never lock my front door. Where I live, I just don't. I make a tell you. The idea of locking the front door would be, why would you? That's where I come from, and that's more down the country. So it's that kind of society. No, that's not to say there's not bad people. So just be sensible. So right now, we're going to come in, and we're listen, lads, and I'm going to always call you lads. So don't mind that. I have my slang. The Irish for girl is Mná and Fir. Fir is a man, Mná, but Búcalaí and Collini, right? A Búcal is a boy, a Collini is a girl. Colleen is a girl, and Búcalaí is boys, Collini is girl. So if I call you Búcalaí, Collini, you know what it is, and it's a term of endearment. The main language here is English, but Irish is spoken in pockets of the country. It's become more and more so. People are learning Irish now. When I was a kid, I could speak fluent Irish when I was a kid at home. But over the years, I've just lost all my Irish for not using it, because in business, English is the first language, and it's one of the reasons why there's so many American companies here in Ireland, is because it's now with England Brexiting from the EU. Ireland is the only English-speaking country in the EU, but the Irish language is a lovely language. You're all top of the morning, but some of the English translations are really off the wall. Like you have what I always correct at this time is, may the road rise up and meet you. Okay, you've heard that one, but the actual translation of that is Gunairi an Bóthar Lat is the Irish. Gunairi an Bóthar Lat. Gunairi is the verb, and it can mean rising. We use it to rise up, but it's also in the context of a journey. It's a success. So Gunairi an Bóthar Lat is, may your journey be a success. So that is so when someone says to you, when they hear that, when you go home, so may the road rise up and meet you. No, you can correct them and say, it's may your journey be a success. So there you are. So that's the thing. And what's the top of the morning, the same thing. When you have a good day, it's our way of saying a good day. Majin as well. So now we're coming up. Now we're going to come into this beautiful parkland. It's an enclosed. It's something like 300. I have it in my notes. Now, if I'm not great on exact, I have my notes. I'll be able to tell you the exact dates, exact everything. So for right now, it's the largest enclosed park in Europe, and I think Tony about 300 acres, 260 to 300 acres. Yeah, they are. That gives us a bit of a leeway, and it's enclosed, and it has. You'll see. Hopefully, we'll be able to see. It has the red deer, the native Irish red deer, and it has the Japanese deer, which is called. Anyone knows what Japanese deer is called?
Saki, is it?
What?
Saki? No, that's a...
No. The Sika deer. I got a hint there, right? And how do you know